Extra trees, excess leaves, thus I sneeze, giving in to the scent timidly, hoping it would better me, embrace it as my mind would say, hurt for now but stronger for another day. The antidote for any remote, that toke at your throat, urging for the stoke more prone to promote. When the miniature sharks come out in boats, fisherman with the loads, gifted with the baggage, the extra savagery to manage. Can a shark catch the flu? What's the meaning of a strong brew if only to live for another minute? Where time would smile as a sign in aid to take the pain away. The universal telltales, they spill seeds on the greatest time, the serenading of this special periods never seen. Where do we go to find what special exists? Is it a mystery or simply just hard to see? For these are the antidotes that transcends at the base of paranoia, makes the aches less tricky, extra sticky, touch-worthy, at the mouth with a bitter taste. A theme with the grace, it aids my cerebral yet swollen place. While I sit back and relax in my mental workshop, inquisitive spanners, extra mop to clear the clouds. The dire moments at a distance, still they scream so loud. Grasping to the pillow to cushion away the crowd, placating my location, still I remain steadfast, unwilling to be impaired at my station. Good day everyone, welcome back to Poetry Journal Podcast. I am your host, Alex Murdock, and what you just heard there is pretty much today's piece, and this was a standard piece. You know, usually I just read like a quote, but this was actually a whole thing. Thought I'd give everyone a treat today, just share what I had to say, and this is more of a universal take on things. I think everyone should be able to grasp that. And with this one, I actually named it Only the Universe Can Tell. Do you get what I mean? Because these are like questions that you probably have, but you don't necessarily have tangible evidence to indicate what is. Do you get what I mean? So that's pretty much where I was going with it, with this one. But I'm not really going to go too much into, what it's about. I'll leave that for people to judge. For the most part, like I said, it's a universal take, and I want to go into something perhaps that was the part of the inspiration behind me doing this piece today. And without further ado, this was all because of a book. It's called The Magical World of You. I believe we've spoken about this book before, and it's a self-help. It's a guide, your guide to self-worth, self-love, and success. And it's written by the author Sarah Marie Park. And it is my pleasure to welcome her today. She's I'm grateful that she came to share some time with me today and just have a little chat. So Sarah, how you doing?
Hello Alex, I'm great. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, so obviously I've been reading your book, and obviously that's the reason why I really wanted you to come on today, because, and like I said, it's the inspiration behind what I decided to write this piece for, because I thought to myself, of course your book is more of a non-fiction book, but it's based on like universal laws kind of thing.
Yep.
When you think about the things, including like the visualization that you speak about, and just putting out the right energy in the ethos kind of thing.
Definitely.
And just having like even things like self-care, and just the right vibrations, because these things you put them out, but as you know, the universe works by you get what you put out kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And these are the things that I felt like it was so relevant. And I think if you recall, I was just saying like these are very nutritional things to kind of speak or discuss about, and have people kind of perhaps inspired to do their own research and find out more about maybe read it on your take on it, read about what you've written, or find out in depth details about what it's really about. So I really want to just give you the floor, because I really want you to kind of just give me a little gist, your take in person, like about your book and the vision that you had for it when you created it.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, I absolutely love the words that you've used to describe my book, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time to explain how it's influenced you. It's lovely to hear. But yeah, like just expanding on what you've just said, I am a massive believer in believing in yourself, and realizing that with faith and with belief and self-confidence and self-worth, we can achieve our dreams. Anything is literally possible. Anything that we can believe, we can achieve.
Absolutely.
And I think, it's taken me a long time actually to put things into practice, because of course, I do mention this in my book, but sometimes people can sort of say, oh yes, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And then things just slip, and then, naturally, daily stresses, daily worries, anxieties, all of these kind of things come back into play, and perhaps people think, oh, I'm just not ready for this, and they just kind of lose faith in themselves a bit, and put the book down, or don't create new habits to help them become a better person. Absolutely. And so I think the book is basically a short book, just quite a short, snappy book about introducing people to the law of attraction, or the law of the universe, or karma, or spiritual beliefs, religion, God, whatever you might want to call it. I sort of refer to the greater being as the universe.
Yes.
I think that's quite a generic term to use for people, but we all have different beliefs, different thoughts, different feelings,
Absolutely.
Different takes on the world. So I think my inspiration for the book was to make it accessible for all ages, all personalities, and just kind of hopefully make people realise that no matter how bad things get, or how stressed or worried we might be, with a little bit of help, trying to not let things bother you, or particularly with things that we can't control. I think as long as we can make people realise that, look, if you're stuck in a traffic jam and there's nowhere to go, there is no point sitting there stressing and getting angry. Absolutely. And getting road rage, and it's just about kind of breathing, living in the moment, appreciating the moment, and just kind of laughing things off if we're getting stressed, if possible. Thinking, if I'm sitting on my bum, but I want this and I want that, but they're not doing anything about it. It's just kind of flicking all these switches for people so that they can realise that their life is what they make it, and what they aim to get, what they want to get. We can help achieve these goals, and in a nutshell, that's basically what I'm trying to get at. But there's a lot more, there's a lot more layers to the whole process of dreaming, believing, achieving. We've got to make our new habits positive. We've got to make sure that we are actively believing in ourselves and actively pushing ourselves, but not in a pressurized way. We've still got to enjoy life. We've still got to be grateful for the little things.
Absolutely.
And my big belief is, literally having that gratitude for those little things in our lives. The fact that we're sitting here breathing and talking to each other now, and the fact that there's beautiful birds outside this window here. The little things that make up all those happy moments. I think once we were able to feel gratitude for the little things in our lives, then bigger things can come our way, that we can be more grateful for, and good health, things like that. I speak about that in the book. More than anything else, people shouldn't be materialistic and want everything that's not really important in the world. We need to be grateful for our health, and we need to be grateful for the people that we love in our lives, and build on that. Once we've got that baseline, we can progress and go out there and get what we want, basically.
Absolutely. The one thing that I keep hearing that's very consistent in your rhetoric that you're speaking about is, and it keeps coming back to me, is discipline. Talk to us about your philosophy on discipline, or how it's impact your life, and is that something that you've always kind of had as in your arm, in your skill set as a person, kind of thing, or is it something that you developed over time?
I can be disciplined in some areas of my life, and then other areas I can be really bad. So, for example, I've always worked hard, and I've always had, worn a few hats, if you like, and I've always sort of, made sure I brought my dreams to life, and any idea that I have in my head, I do sort of go out to get it, and I feel satisfied and fulfilled when I do achieve my goals. But for example, I have no willpower when it comes to things like I do still procrastinate a lot about important things that might need doing, and sometimes I have to give myself a kick up the butt to get important things done, and this is why I do state in my book, we shouldn't feel that we have to go 1,000,000 miles an hour every single day. Part of the self-care, part of the whole manifesting and being happy, all that kind of stuff, we do have to rest. We do have to rejuvenate. We do have to just have some days where we just have a duvet day and we just sit and chill and do nothing, because if we're working, if we're thinking, if we're planning, sometimes we can be a bit hard on ourselves if we expect too much from ourselves. So I do believe in discipline, absolutely, definitely, but in my own defense, when I do have those lazy days and I sort of don't really get the important things done, I sometimes say to myself, it's okay, it's absolutely fine to sit and chill and do nothing on the days that we need to. And also, having an early night, getting a great sleep. Of course, we heal in our sleep, we renew in our sleep, and I think, without those basic self-care moments, we wouldn't be able to, discipline ourselves and go out and get what we need to get, because we do have to pull it back a bit. So, in answer to your question, discipline is important, but I suppose, we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves. We just need to maybe make a to-do list and actually work through it.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing as well, because you trigger something else in the sense of like just speaking over it and just describing how how you go about it. And that's the other thing that I realize that I can hear it is knowledge of self. Just in the sense of like, you know what, there's days that there's certain days that you're not going to be right, but you're aware of it. And knowledge of self brings awareness, doesn't it? I think they're two intertwined. Just in the sense of like, okay, you know what, I need a downtime because I'm on the edge now in terms of like, I'm about to fall off this cliff but I don't get some rest. Do you get what I mean? And I think
definitely
that's another thing that is very important. And I'm sure, and this is something that you speak about in the book as well, knowledge of self. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, and also, like saying no to people as well. If I think that sometimes some people might commit to something, or they might think, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, but for your own self-worth and for your own, self-love, you do have to sometimes, say no to people and, disagree with people, and we, without sort of encouraging any conflict at all, we do have to realise that it's okay to recognise when we are kind of doing a bit too much and we need to step back a bit.
Yep.
Saying no is fine. Declining events is fine. We don't have to feel that we have to be doing something every moment of every day. It's really important to recognise that, and I think you're halfway there if you do actually recognise feelings. If we do feel like I get anxious, I still get anxious at times, and if I feel myself feeling that way, a little bit stressed, a little bit anxious, or tired, deflated, or sometimes the best way I can describe my feelings are like sort of feeling out of sorts but not actually realising why. Sometimes I'll feel like that and I'll just be like, right, okay, you've got to listen to your body. If your body is giving you some sort of symptom, or you've got some sort of feelings that you can't quite put your finger on, then I think, everybody has to realise and take signs from the body as a nudge that we need to have that self-care moment. So yeah, I sometimes can be very, if I am feeling like that, I might come across antisocial, because I'll be like, no, this isn't me time now. This is my reflection, my meditation, my duvet day, whatever you want to call it. That is when I will sit back, I'll relax, and I'll do nothing. And then the next day, I'll be recharged, and I could probably have a really nice, productive day the next day. But it's all about balance. I'm very much, a believer in balance and, a little of everything, as long as it's not harming anyone, or as long as you're not sort of self-sabotaging or whatever. We just have we can indulge a bit, we can have our vices, we can, go from one extreme to the other, whatever it may be, but it's all about balance.
Absolutely. And even just speaking on what you're saying, I think there's a certain discipline in just, self-empowerment and allowing yourself to be empowered, or just like having a right to do certain things that you should be privy to by default. Do you get what I mean? Just like having rest, or like being left alone because you're in a certain space where like, okay, it's important that I get my rest now. And I think, it's a telltale sign when you have people around you that reciprocate that same respect that you have for yourself, and it just adds to your well-being. So it's very important, everything that you're speaking about. And I think in today's society, we have a lot of people that perhaps sacrifice their own well-being for other people, in that sense, and they put themselves at a disadvantage that for sometimes too long, and that becomes a situation where it's like a sword into yourself, in a sense. You know, it can be quite damaging potentially if you're not very careful and aware, like we're speaking about. So no, I think those are very important points, and I do subscribe to them for sure. So yeah, I really that's why I'm saying I really wanted you to speak about that, especially, and just like coming on here and you know, just sharing your thoughts. Because,
well, I think what you've just said is spot on as well, because I think sometimes, unfortunately, we as humans don't actually realise this until you know, much later in life, and I think this is why, you know, we're drained for so many years, we're pressurised for so many years, we're pleasing others, we are, you know, hiding our own feelings and suppress, you know, we're sometimes, like with myself, I didn't actually sort of get into the law of attraction and, you know, all of this until a few years ago. Bearing in mind, I'm actually, in a matter of weeks, I'll be the big 40. So I've realised all this quite late in life, but I think, you know, obviously it's not late, because, you know, it's a new chapter when I turn 40, and it's all, you know,
it's a beautiful time to be alive. Do you get what I mean?
Definitely. And I'm really glad that I've, you know, kind of flipped that mindset switch. I'm really glad that, you know, like I say, we can't be positive all day, every day. Nobody can be, you know, a little Disney character 24/7, happy as Larry, you know. But I think it's great that we can recognise the feelings. We can, you know, act on our feelings, and we can help ourselves to be more grateful every day, and therefore feel better every day, and be happy and healthy. And this is why, you know, again, in my book, I do mention that I'm kind of positively rubbing certain things off with my son at an early age. You know, gratitude, you know, positivity, being smiley and helpful and caring, all of those kind of things. My son is amazing, and I think, you know, without being forceful with anything, it's nice to influence the children of today in a positive way, so that they can, you know, grow up to realise helpful traits and helpful, you know, things as they grow before they become adults. It just gives them a better chance at being what they want to be when they're older, really.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing, you know, you speak about, just the whole age thing. I think for me, the way I see it, it's almost like, it's almost like a conversion, in the sense of like you're going away from one and you're going into another spectrum, in terms of like, you know, from youth to wisdom kind of thing. Do you get what I mean?
Yes, definitely.
And there's so much more to that in itself.
Yeah, it's like an awakening.
Absolutely. I mean, we hear all the time that, you know, youth is wasted on the young. But you know, that saying is there for a reason, you know, and it just speaks to the lack of knowledge that you're privy to as a youth, because it takes going through something. It takes time to develop that necessary thing that you would need to kind of maybe utilize your youth more. But by the time you get to that point, it's, you know, you're no longer young, are you?
No, I completely agree. That is so true. And this is the thing, like the little things that I've gone back to now at my age, you know, things that I used to love when I was a child, and you know, just like when I go out with Henry and I bounce around and I act like a big kid, and you know, when I do little children-focused activities, I love it. Because I've, you know, developed, like you say, the wisdom and the appreciation for all of those magical things that children have at the fingertips. You know, it's great to just revisit it all as an adult, because you have more of the tools to, you know, appreciate what it's all about.
Absolutely.
It's just amazing.
Absolutely. And you know, to that in itself, you know, they always, there is such a thing where it's almost like certain art is almost like the child that survived. childhood. You get what I mean?
Yes.
And it just kind of brings together everything, and it makes you appreciate the fact that you can actually appreciate things or doing things with the young, because you know, just having that kind of commonality where you can kind of relate. I think that's very important for, you know, somebody of an elderly age, and you just kind of breach that gap between the age difference, especially. And so, because, you know, especially with the young, it's kind of it's so hard for them to relate. So you have to have some kind of way to allow them to resonate with you, to actually give them the information, the necessary information that, you know, is so important for their development and further in life. And
1,000,000% agree. Yeah.
You know, a lot of times we don't really get that these days.
No.
So I really like what you said, for sure. You know what I mean?
And I think, again, just elaborating on a point that I make in the book, you know, it's like we're in 2023 now, and everything is so fast-paced. Everything is, you know, technology-based, or, you know, everything is so stressful. We've got so much going on. I mean, not just the adults, but the children in schools these days. There's so much more pressure, so many more demands, and I think it's easy for a lot of people to, you know, lose touch with the outside world when everything's going on the phones or on the tablets, the iPads, the computers, whatever it might be. And sometimes we are disconnected with each other.
Very much so.
Whether it's peers, you know, family, colleagues, or the children in our lives. I think that's where I like to be able to stress, you know, to people, wherever possible, put the phone down, you know, leave the phone on the side, go out and run in the fields, or play football, play in the park, or whatever it might be. Just go out and embrace nature at every opportunity, really, because sometimes in this fast world we just need to, you know, take a step back and just connect with the ground again, and just connect with the fresh air, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so profound. Okay, here's a question for you. You know, we're speaking about the universe, so I guess I would ask this question to you in terms of, like, you know, energy now, because we've spoken about energy as well, and vibrations. So in terms of, like, and even conversions, so in terms of, like, you know, a life energy, would you say, how would you explain, or what's your take on the transfer of energy? And I'm being euphemistically saying, like, the transfer of energy. You know, do you believe there is a transcending to another plane in life? Because, as I'm sure you'd agree, that energy is not necessarily, life is energy, and that's not it's not dissipated and just disappear just like that. Do you get what I mean? So when we do eventually transcend, where do you think all that energy goes to, I suppose?
Right, so this is where my knowledge of the universe and the energies come to an end, really. I actually have no idea what happens, or I've actually not even got my own sort of belief when it comes to, you know, the afterlife and that side of things, really. I'm at a loss. I'm actually, that's something that I'd have to delve a bit more into for my own knowledge building, really, because I suppose nobody knows. Nobody actually knows the answer to that. And there's going to be so many contrasting answers. But you're right. It's fascinating, really, because, you know, on a spiritual level, on a you know, on an energy level, like you say, it surely can't just cut off completely. No. There's got to be something else. But what that something else is, I have no idea.
Yes. I
That's
suppose
a really bad answer, but
no. There is no bad answer. It's just your take on it. I suppose if I had to kind of speak on the way I see it myself, I guess maybe I could use like a more mini example in terms of like if you think about like an ecosystem like we have on this planet, and you know when say just a physical being, you know, when you pass away, they put you 6 feet under, what happens then? You're giving back to the earth, aren't you?
Yeah.
And so I guess maybe it's just going off logic alone, in theory it's almost like that energy is given back to the universe. You get what I mean?
Yeah. I really like the underground network of mycelium as well, which is, you know...
Sorry folks, I think we just lost Sarah. Just calling her back now.
Yeah, I got off.
Yeah, sorry about that. I have no idea what happened.
Oh!
But yes, I just had to let people know that you got cut. But yeah, you're going to speaking about the mycelium.
Yeah. So I watched a program all about mushrooms actually that was very, very fascinating, and I loved it. And so I suppose your example that you've just given there, that could that opens up a whole load of possibilities really, because if the energy is taken back into the ground and then back into the universe again, then that's just going to go on forever. Absolutely. There's always going to be some kind of turnover.
And I guess maybe if you think about it, it's almost like more like the encapsulation of cycle of life in a way. So in essence, maybe what I'm saying is the universe is like a big ecosystem, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
And it just constantly recycles itself. You know, even stars die eventually. So and you know that energy becomes something else or feeds into something else. So
interesting. Now you've got me thinking again. Yeah. Brilliant.
It's definitely food for thought. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Wow.
But I'll make sure I leave the link for your book in
thank you.
In this episode, so everybody can really read your take on everything that you're speaking about, and I think it's definitely one to go visit for sure. Where could they find your book?
So yeah, it's on Amazon. I think that's the most accessible link, really. You can get next day delivery from the Amazon site. So yeah, I think the Amazon link would be great. Thank you.
And where could they find you if they want to?
So yeah, if you want to connect with me, I'm on Instagram, and my name is Lady Sarah Marie. So that's my main. I do put a lot of content on my Instagram, so that is where you'll find me active all the time. Great.
Okay, Sarah. Well, I really, like I said at the beginning, I really appreciate you coming through, giving me some of your time, and allow me to pick your brain a little bit. You know, that's pretty much what I do on this podcast, ask questions. So I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you inviting me on. I've really enjoyed speaking with you, so thank you so much.
Absolutely, and it's been great.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Sarah, thank you, and take care, and until next time.
You too. I will speak to you soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care. Right, guys, just had that was Miss Sarah Park, and I'll leave links to her book, but love the conversation, and that's one of the reasons why I felt it would have been something that people would enjoy hearing about, because you know, when you write something like this, your take on life is one that is intriguing, you know, and but overall great take. Enjoy the conversation, and I hope you enjoy this episode. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and until next time, we'll speak soon. Take care.